opening today comes from Animen's Piano Sheets, who offer up on YouTube their stirring rendition of Unravel from Tokyo Ghoul. So you should go check out their piano cover at the link included in this podcast post. Hi guys! Shoujo Thoughts here, and I am coming to you only 5 days out from Anime Expo 2017. I am a living, breathing ball of nerves and excitement, but that's to be expected at this juncture. I apologize for falling behind with the podcast and Fan Fiction Friday series. Real life caught up to me in some strange and unexpected ways, but I'm back now with a blogosphere update. It has been quite a long time since I made a podcast, so I have lots to share with you. Things that have happened between now and then. So I wrote a post, seems like forever ago now, that I'm actually very fond of, called Let's Talk About B Project, or Is This the New Urano Prince-sama? It's an anime that is subbed, it is an idol anime, and being someone who appreciates the idol genre in this way, I think that B Project does something unique among its, how would I phrase it, among its peers, among its contemporaries. And so I was thinking about the comparisons I would make between B Pro and Udapri. So if you'd like to check that out and you are interested in idol anime, I encourage you to do so. I had a post as part of the FMAB post series, The Nature of Greed, as well as several Fanfiction Friday posts that have come out since my last podcast. So if you are interested in fanfiction, you can find them under a tab on my title page. I have 3 If You Need a Laugh, I Got You posts. What actually had happened was I was cleaning out my phone, and guys, I have so many memes, so I thought, why not share them with you? So there are 3 versions of that. If you need a laugh, hopefully I can oblige. I have another installation of Just a Shoujo Girl Living in the Real World. This one titled The Girls Like Me, or How Anime Portrays Girls Like Me. It's just a very brief look, very brief exploration into the reception or the interpretation, the portrayal, I guess, really, of shoujo heroines and how that relates to someone with my personality quirks, my personality type. So if you're interested, I do warn you, it is a poem, but I really feel like I put something of myself into it. If you're interested in poetry, you can go ahead and give that a look if you want. Between now and the last podcast, I did an entire route of Mystic Messenger Hell. I did You Sung this time, and we will talk about that a little bit later on in the podcast. I made a cosplay update called Cosplay Catastrophe and Reset, followed by the Concussion of the Century Anime Expo 2017. And we will be talking about the expo a little bit later in the podcast as well, so I won't get too terribly into details here, but if you want to go back in time a little bit and see some of the things that have been going on in the run-up to the expo trip that we're about to take, that would be a good post for you to read. I made a post, Anime OP covers and English interpretations, male covers for Fangirls Edition. I am such a sucker for male covers of anime OPs and songs, especially if they are in English. So if you are interested in things like that, you can go ahead and give that post a look. If you like things like that, maybe let me know that you'd like to see more of them. I'm sure I will be posting more of them because I really enjoy them, but if you really enjoy them as well, maybe let me know what you think. I also have a couple posts on Dance with Devils, which is a shoujo musical starring a host, a reverse harem of vampires and demons. So, if it's not your thing, that's fine, but I do have posts on it. I have Come, It's Time to Dance with Devils, recommended dub sub on the anime title itself, and then following up with that, I have Dance with Devils the musical as a post, which is the live action musical version of the anime musical. There are actually 2 musicals, so now I have been told, and be looking in the future for a post on the new Dance with Devils movie coming out, Dance with Devils Fortuna. So lastly, I had another update about the Anime Expo titled Anime Expo Updates and Cosplay Countdown, which again, we will be talking about the Anime Expo shortly. Now, in other people's blogs. So, like I said, it's been a long time, how many times can I say this, since I have made a podcast, and there have been so many posts since then, but I will only highlight 3. So, the first is a little bit unorthodox for me. I'm not going to be highlighting a text post. I am going to be highlighting another podcast. This one is the Senshi Annie Girls podcast, number 10, The Joy of Conventions. It was very helpful for me to listen to this podcast as I geared up for the anime convention. Someone like me who's never been to a convention before, listening to the advice of these people who had been to conventions, they answered so many of my questions. I really appreciated that. If you're thinking about going into a convention and you're looking for some general advice, this might be a good place to start. So I will leave a link to that. I also would like to draw your attention to Kurimi Shimi, Awaken Your Otaku Soul, a post on Earl and Fairy Review, a fantastical Victorian era. I had never heard of this title, and I was excited to read a review on it because now I think I might really want to watch it. I am always on the lookout for a good shoujo, and I'm excited. So if you want to go ahead and check that out as well. And then there was another post from Otaku Gamer Zone, and it was a short but sweet one. Anime beginners, do I watch now or binge later? And like I said, this post is short and sweet, but it does get you thinking about your own preferences for watching anime and how you prefer to do that. Do you like to watch seasonal anime as it comes out, or do you like to wait till the whole thing has come out and watch it all at once? Let me know what you'd like to do. I can see benefits to both sides. I have done both things. I tend to be a binge watcher because most of the shoujo that I watch has already been released, but if a new show comes out, like whenever Magic Cube came out, I watched that. Since I found it, I watched it every week until it was gone, and I looked forward to doing so every week. Oh, the kitty's here. I'm trying to do a podcast, kitty. What are you doing? Anyway, there were so many other bloggers and articles that I could have mentioned, but like I said, I have been AWOL on the podcast for so long that there's no way I'm going to get caught up there. Up for discussion this episode, we will be talking about Hakuoki Kyoto Winds. Don't turn off the podcast yet, please. I know I talk about Hakuoki a lot, but I have big news about this title. We're also going to talk about Mystic Messenger, the Anime Expo, and Idol Boy anime. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm sorry, I have a cat, and she is wonderful, and she is so distracting. Oh, but you have your claws in my pants. Nope, okay. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and get started with Hakuoki Kyoto Winds. Now, anybody who knows me from like Twitter or just my rambling in general knows how much I've been contemplating buying a PS Vita. You also know how very much I love Hakuoki and how tempted I am to buy a Vita just for this game. I mean, I am sure that there are other otome titles that I would like to play on the Vita and that I probably would play, but Hakuoki is close to my heart. I mean, I might go to a Hakuoki cosplay meetup of like 6 people just so I can take pictures with them, so, you know, things. But anyway, PS Vitas are expensive. Game cards are expensive. Once you get your head around the idea of buying a Vita, then you have to wrap your head around the idea of buying a game card. Well, I have recently discovered that Hakuoki Kyoto Winds is going to be released for PC this summer. I am so excited. I can buy it for PC. It doesn't offer, the portability of a Vita, but if I choose not to buy a Vita, I can still play Hakuoki. I'm so excited. I am so excited about this. I had to share this news with you. I really hope that this is an indication that they see English otome has a PC market, because I truly believe that it does. I truly believe that if they got more titles onto PC, that it would flourish. You have Nameless, you have Dandelion. There are other things, like Hopeful Boyfriend and stuff like that. But as far as like big quality titles, your options are limited on a PC, and I am just so excited to see Hakuoki doing something about that. If you know me, you know how excited I am. I'm gonna get to play Shinpachi's route. I don't know. I'm so excited. I am trying so hard, just not to scream at the top of my lungs. I am so excited. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of otome, I've been playing Mystic Messenger, as you know, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to touch on something otome related that might be a bit antiquated, truly. I'm thinking about making a post about this in the future, but I want to touch on it today because I follow bloggers who write about otome. All kinds of otome, and it's very interesting to see what comes out and what language it's in and what platforms you can, use and things like that. But long before I ever started watching anime, knowledgeably, I'm not talking about Dragon Ball Z, I'm talking about, with any sort of, I'm watching anime realization, I was playing otome games without realizing they were otome games. My husband used to joke around and call them, my anime games. It all started really about 2.5 years ago or so, 3 years ago, with a game called Destiny Ninja. It's a phone game. I will leave a link to it. It might be you might not be able to download this game anymore. It is so old. But if I can find the link to it on, Google Play, on the Apple Store, I will link it to you. That was the first otome game I ever played. And I didn't buy the game. I did the, freemium way, where you can only play so many things per day, and you have to, work up all your stats, and it took forever to get through a route. But there was something really special about that, working so hard towards something, and this is even before I knew about walkthroughs, so playing it yourself, and will you succeed? And so that was the first one. And then by the same makers, they had another game, and this one I think you can still download, called My Sweet Prince. Yeah. So I played that. And these games are all put out by a publisher, and I'm going to try to say this right. It's called NTT Solmare. Shall We Date? And I'm sorry, I'm having feelings. But they make all different types of games. And I have played almost everything that they've put out. So I'm going to give you a rundown of some of their games and talk a little bit about which ones you might be interested in depending on your, preferences. So let's see here. Okay, so there's a game called Mononoke Kiss, which is a forbidden romance between humans and monsters. I played it. I played through maybe 2 full routes of it, and then dabbled in the others, and I had a good time with it. Angel or Devil, I can't remember. It's a sweet and bitter romance crossing lines between humans and demons and angels, and it's crazy. I played through 1 or 2 full routes and dabbled in the others. I played Magic Sword for a while, which is an adventure romance, kind of set in medieval times. I think I finished 1 route. Yep, I know I did. Of course, it was my favorite, the dark, brooding one, because of course it had to be that one. Scarlet Fate, I played Scarlet Fate. That one is actually made in conjunction with Otome, which if you know anything about, well, not if you know anything about, that sounds insulting, but if you know a lot about otome games, you'll know they're a pretty infamous, company, and it was a very, very good game. When it was new and you only had 3 routes to choose from, I played through 1 full route, and of course it was a dark brooding one, and of course I loved it, so there's that. You definitely should go play Scarlet Fate. Lost Island, I played through a route of that and dabbled in the others, and it's about zombies. I am not kidding you, they made a zombie apocalypse dating game, and it was great. The only problem is, if you're going to play that one for Fremium, it's just about impossible, because they were trying something different with their skill leveling there in that title, and it just did not work out. And I think, they stopped making routes for it and everything like that, because I don't think it took off like it was going to take off. But it was an interesting concept, and I really enjoyed the storyline behind it. My Fairy Tales, which is about male versions of typically, female fairy tale characters, and romancing them and whatever, and that wasn't really my thing. I played it. I didn't do a whole route. Wasn't my thing, but I did play it. Of course, Destiny Ninja, like we talked about, my heart. It's all about a certain period in time, and if you are familiar with historical titles between anime and otome, you'll know that everything is always either centered around the Shinsengumi in some capacity, or, and I don't know what this period is, I'm sure I could look it up, but those ninjas like Hattori Hanzo and all them. So that's this period of time, and I loved Destiny Ninja. I loved it so much. I have played through so many routes. I have watched people play through so many routes. It has been fantastic. My Sweet Prince, where you're basically in a country, and then you have to fall in love with the prince, and again you marry them and they become kings, something like that. Whoa, Muffin, goodness, please. That's not what your claws are for. Anyway, so that was really something that I enjoyed, and they have all kinds of side stories. Destiny Ninja and My Sweet Prince really were the meat and potatoes of that company for so long, so they have all this content, all these side stories, all these characters. It is fantastic. They did Ninja Love Plus, which is another ninja game. I also played this a lot. I played a lot of the routes. I had a really great time with it. So check that out if you want to. They have a lot of side stories there, because that was one of their big 3, from the beginning. They made Ninja Assassin is one of their newer titles. I played this one. I made it through 1 route, but it had the same stats mining attempt that they made with Lost Island, and so regardless of the story, I just couldn't get through that. It was impossible, and it didn't tempt me enough to buy it, so that wasn't happening. The Niflheim, I played that. Have I played all of these? Which is where you as a protagonist wake up from being dead, and you wake up into the world of the dead. And it's a really interesting premise. I played through 1 route and I won, and I played through part of another route, and then I played through a part of another route. I lost my game in there, so I couldn't finish it, but I really enjoyed that one. Wizardress Heart, I played through 1, 2, 3, 4 routes. I played through 3 full routes and got to the very end of the 4th one. Didn't I? Or was it just 3 full routes? No. Well, I played a lot of it anyway, and the places of that one is you are at a magic academy. Start your romance with all of this magic and sparkles and hidden stuff, and this was very successful for them. So when I was playing it, they only had 4 routes available. Yes, I played through at least 3 full routes of that. And I think I got into the 4th one. And then they started releasing other characters, but I had moved on by that time. Blood and Roses. This has got vampires. It's not my favorite title. It's worth a look if that's your thing. When I played it, you were only able to choose from 3 routes. I never made it through a full route. The stats mining thing there was difficult as well. Didn't happen. Love Tangle, which I played 2 routes of. Love Tangle is an interesting title because basically when you pick a route where there are 2 different men, and the choices you make depend on the choices that you make influence who you end up with. So, and you know, if you don't stick with your guns, you might not end up with anybody. It's a really interesting concept. I enjoyed it. Wasn't my favorite because it wasn't enough of a fantasy for me, but I really did like it. Oz Plus, about the Wizard of Oz. Not my thing. Played it a little bit. Not so much my thing, but if you like it, that's great. Ninja Shadow, which, okay, here's the interesting thing. Ninja Shadow is kind of a tie-in game with Ninja Assassin, which came out long before it, but it is much more playable. I made it through 2 routes of that game, the Ninja Shadow game. It's much more manageable. It was a fun game. It wasn't my favorite because, I mean, it's not Destiny Ninja, but it was good. Guard Me Sherlock. I made it through a route of that, and I started another route of that. Basically, Sherlock Holmes, and you need his help, so that's an interesting one as well. Modern Cinderella. I'm playing that right now, actually. Currently, I'm playing it. I just started. I'm working on through the first route. Basically, you are an heiress who decides she's tired of her fake life and all the expectations put on her, so she runs away, and then you have to try to make your way in the world. And, of course, these handsome men come along, and you have to, you know... It's a dating game. It's an otome. What do you expect? This strikes me as crazy. The only freemium game that I have not played from Shall We Date is Lost Alice, which is, Alice in Wonderland, kind of like the Wizard of Oz. I should probably try it just so I can say I've played all of them. That's crazy. My gosh, I've played so much of this. I didn't even think about how much otome I've played. I should write about this more. But yeah, so there you have that. I haven't played it yet. Alice in Wonderland. Maybe I'll give that a shot. But there's that. So, how long did I just spend rambling about otome? If you are still there, I am so sorry. Okay, moving on from the old school Destiny Ninja. I skipped one! No, I have to keep talking. I'm sorry. This is like an all over the place podcast. I got so caught up. I tend to ramble when I really like something, but I have to tell you something. I skipped it. I want to tell you about it. So this was the point of all of this before I started getting into every tile that they have. Destiny Ninja. First title I ever played. They made a sequel, Destiny Ninja 2. It is a game that takes place using the descendants of the original cast. In all accounts, it is fantastic. I have played so many routes of Destiny Ninja 2. I have played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 5.5, then 6, now 7. 7, and I'm on the 7th route, but I played a half of the route another time. So 6.5 completed, working on the 7th, and it is an incredible game. You have to check it out. Destiny Ninja 2. Join the team of reliable ninja fighters to overcome the inevitable destiny. You are a warrior in this one, but you are still the object of attention and protection, but you're competent. It's great. Anyway, yes, you should play that. Moving on. I am so sorry about that, guys. Anyway, so I played Mystic Messenger. Let's talk about that. Yusung's route gave me so much more information than Zen's route. I appreciated Zen's route more because I like Zen as a character more, and playing for his hearts feels more natural to me. Yusung is not my type. I honestly found him really creepy. The obsession with his cousin, that he expects you to be like his cousin, is too much for me. Not my type. I think that if you get a bad end, he might be a yandere. I didn't get a bad end, so I can't say a whole lot about it, but I really, really think his bad end might be a yandere. I really think so. He finally grew up towards the end of the game, and that made me like him more, so that wasn't so bad. I feel like I finally understand more things about what are happening. I finally understand more about the overarching mystery behind Mystic Messenger. I learned a lot. I'm really excited to move forward now with Jaehee's route. I want to know what's going on, and I'm closer than ever to doing that. So that's really, really exciting for me. The final days of Mystic Messenger and any route are always the best days. I found out that Jaehee's route is a friendship route, so I'm cool with that. I can hook you up with Zen Jaehee. Like, I got this, girl. You got this. I'll be the wing girl. I got it. When I make posts, if you're not listening to this anymore, I apologize for being so rambly about the otome topic. But anyway, if you are reading my Mystic Messenger posts, I'm trying to strike a balance between providing information and impressions without giving too many spoilers, and I don't think I'm reaching that balance correctly, so I might just have to start giving spoilers, but I really don't want to. It's something I'm thinking about. Be aware. I'm not sure what I should be doing there and how I'm going to make that balance happen. But anyway, moving on to the Anime Expo. So obviously, I had a cosplay catastrophe. Like I said, there's a post about it, but just to get you caught up to speed, 2 very major things happened over the course of the past month that really knocked everything for a loop. The first and most severe being, we originally had 3 people going to the convention. There was me, Shoujo. There was my friend Chronic, who that's his blog name, and another friend who is still trying to decide what he wants to be called. We were gonna go. And then our no-name friend got a concussion while he was halfway across the country visiting his parents. And we only got secondhand information. We did not know what was going on. I texted him once. I was afraid to text him too much because I knew he was in really bad shape and I didn't want to, be a distraction or cause a problem. So, we just decided to wait it out. And finally today, he's back now. We have more information. He is indeed coming to Anime Expo. What had happened was he was playing basketball back here, back where we are, 2 weeks before finals, and he got elbowed in the temple, and it really hard. And he, his face, black eyes, swollen shut, and he had this horrible headache that he just could not shake, and he was dizzy and nauseous, but he'd never had a concussion before and he didn't know what it was. So he made it through finals, and he even drove home hundreds of miles. And I guess when he got there, they were like, "Child, what have you done?" And they took him to the doctor, and he had a concussion, and it was very severe. So he has basically been in a mandatory rest period. Don't walk around too much, don't watch TV, don't look at screens. And it did not sound at all pleasant, but he is doing better, and for that we are very, very thankful. If he continues to feel as good as he has been, he will be going to Anime Expo with us, which is nice because I think that, he already had all his tickets bought, and we were excited to go with him. I'm just glad everything worked out on that end. The second thing was a cosplay catastrophe, and I'm not going to reiterate everything that happened. You can read the post for that, but just know that I was originally going to be Toru Handa, and some things happened, and now I'm Yuki Cross. But my cosplay is 95% ready, and it's pretty cool, and I'm excited, so, things work out. I'm a little disappointed it can't be Toru, but there's always other cons for that, so, yes. Anyway, last topic of the day, Idol Boy anime. I'm going to make some more posts on this, I do believe, because I really enjoy Idol Boy anime. Should I be calling it Idol Man anime? Idol Boy just makes me sound strange. Idols when they're male. There we go. Anyway, like Utapuri and B Project, and I can ship the main character with everybody, and there's songs, and it's wonderful. Anyway, so the thing about idol boy anime is that it tends to be light. And even when topics get heavy, they're handled in ways that are light. How do I explain this? Example. Someone has an incurable disease. Is the darkest thing one of the darkest things I've ever seen in an idol boy anime. But even then, it was handled in a way that while it was dramatic, wasn't scarring. A suicidal character in an idol boy anime. I've seen this happen before, but it was done in a way that you had to catch the reference to understand what he was feeling. It never came to a head. It never was something that they overtly addressed because it was done in song, but it was done in a way that was so subtle. This isn't a bad thing. It's just a telltale of the genre. I need to think more about this topic, but I do plan to make a post on it fairly soon, so I'll be looking out for that here in the next while. Well, in addition to that post, please be on the lookout for Onigiri Adventures, which is my attempt at making rice balls, which was super fun. See more about that in a post. More Anime Expo information. More on the Brotherhood post series, Full Metal Alchemist. More watch-alongs. And thanks for sticking with me through this extra long podcast. Hopefully in the future, I will be doing them more regularly again, and they won't have to be quite this long. But I hope that you have a wonderful day or evening or whenever you're listening to this. I send with you love, peace, and geese. Bye-bye.